What's up, everybody? It's your shot Buie back again for another episode of Buie with Buie, where I cover the hottest topics in sports, especially if it is OU related. Today, I want to talk about two NBA games that happened last night: Pelicans versus the Mavs, and then the Grizzlies versus the Lakers. First game up, Pelicans versus the Mavs. So let's dive in. A little pregame stats for you. Pelicans 12th in the West coming in, 11-13. They've lost back-to-back games. Obviously, the star Zion Williamson. He's averaging 23 points per game with about 7 boards. Then on the flip side, Dallas 11th in the West coming in, 12-14, but they're on a 3-game winning streak, trying to get things turned around. Obviously, Luka, his stats haven't really changed since last week's game against the Hawks, averaging 28 points per game, 9.3 assists, and then 8.7 boards. He still leads the league in triple-doubles. But to start the game, Brandon Ingram and Kristaps Porzingis both came out really hot. Ingram had 10 points in the first 5 minutes, finished with 14 in the quarter. Then Porzingis had 12 points, 4 for 5 from 3 in the first 5 minutes, and he ended up going cold to end the quarter. He missed 4 straight threes after that. One of them was a heat check, obviously. I mean, you can predict that. But he ended up missing 4 straight threes after that. But he did finish the quarter with 15 points. Luka had a quiet first quarter, went 1 for 3, 2 points. Zion had a really good first quarter. He got to the rim really easy. They could not stop him. He went 5 for 5, had 10 points, and all 10 points came in the paint. Mavs, like I said, or not just like Porzingis, the Mavs in general, they came out hot, but then they went cold late in the first quarter, last couple minutes. That allowed the Pelicans to kind of build a little bit of a cushion. The Pelicans shot 60% from the field in the first quarter, and from 3 also, and they had 16 in the paint, which 10 of that came from Zion, but 16 in the paint, which is a good start for them. But they built that first quarter lead at 34-27. Rolling to the second quarter, Luka had 9 points in the first 3 minutes, came out hot after that quiet first quarter, and Dallas took the lead with about 5 minutes left in the quarter, 54-52. And Zion started the game 10 for 10 in the first half, which was a Pelicans franchise record for makes without a miss. And then he had 23 points in the first half, which was a career high for him for points and a half. Ingram had 16 and a half. Both teams shot very well in the second quarter, I would say. Both shot above 50%. And Dallas hit 14 threes in the first half, which is the big difference. Kind of swung the game towards the Mavs, and Pelicans only hit 7 of them. Luke had 17 at halftime. He had a big second quarter. And then Kristaps Porzingis had 23. He was 6 from 11 from 3. And like I said, Mavs built that lead. They were up 69-65 at halftime. Rolling to the third quarter, Dallas started hot. They were 5 for 6 from 3 to start the third quarter. They built a 96-84 lead. The Mavs had 7 more threes in the third, but the Pelicans also answered with 7 more threes. Redick kind of kept it close for the Pelicans. It's kind of quiet from the other players for the Pelicans. And he had 11 through 3 quarters to kind of keep it close a little bit, hit a couple threes. Zion was 12 for 12 before he had his first miss, and which was a 3. But yeah, he don't know why he shot the 3. You're not a 3-point shooter. I mean, or maybe because he thought he can make it because he was hot in the paint. But whatever. He was 12 for 13 at that point, which is great. He had 27 points at the end of the third. Ingram had 24. And the Mavs had the lead 108-101. Porzingis had 33 at the end of the third. Luka had 15 in the quarter, which was his best quarter of the night. That gave him 32 go at the end of the third with 8 and 6 to go along with it. Rolling to the fourth quarter, Mavs again, they started out hot, went on an 8-0 run early in the fourth, led by Luka, of course, to put him up 116-104. Zion was trying to break a record, not trying to, but there was a record out there for him to break. Hakeem Olajuwon holds a record for most makes without a miss, 15 of 15, just in the paint. And Zion was 14 of 14. Couldn't quite get that 15th one. But Zion finished 14 of 15 from the field in the entire game. And he had 36 points to go along with it, which was a career high for him. He only had 2 rebounds, though. Your name's Zion Williamson. You got all this surrounding your name. You got to get me more than 2 boards, man. 2 boards ain't going to get it done. It's not going to get a win for your team, just 2 boards. You're averaging 7 per game. I need at least 5 from you. I mean, you're out there in the paint most of the time anyway, so you can't get no more boards than that. 8 threes by Porzingis, which is tied for the most threes by players 7 feet or taller. Porzingis finished 8 of 13 from 3 with 36 points. Luka had a career night, career high in points. He had 46. Go along with that, 12 assists, 8 boards. It's the 7th game that Luka's had 40 and 10, which the rest of the Mavs history, they haven't had a player do it a single time. He's done it 7 times already. But the Mavs, they built that lead in the third and then rolled along in the fourth, ended up winning the game 143-130. Pelicans just couldn't crawl back in it after that, led by Luka and Porzingis. Head to the next game, Grizzlies and the Lakers. Grizzlies sitting at 10th in the West at 10-10. John Moran, of course, a star for them, 18 points per game. But he's only played 12 of the 20 games this year. He was out for an ankle injury, but he's trying to get his feel back in it, trying to get his footing back. Lakers are second in the West, sitting at 20-6 coming into the game. Has 6 straight wins. 3 of those wins coming in OT. They've had 3 straight overtime wins coming into the game, which isn't ideal, but they're wins, so you're going to take them. LeBron averaging 25, 8, and 8 on the year, and then AD averaging 22. He's missed the last 2 games, though. He had Achilles tightness, nothing serious. He was just sitting out resting because there's no reason to rush back for him. But he returned against the Grizzlies. Memphis started the game extremely hot, which you wouldn't expect because the Lakers are #1 in defense efficiency, and the Grizzlies are the 10th best team in the West. But they came out blazing, jumped to a 22-2 lead on the Lakers. That is insane, 22-2 lead. And Valanciunas had 11 of the 22 to start. And AD started 0 for 5, started terrible. LeBron started 1 for 4. Not terrible, not great. Did not help their cause in any way to start the game. Memphis also capitalized on a lot of Lakers turnovers in that first quarter. They had 6, and Memphis turned that into 11 more points. They shot 59% from the field, while on the flip side, Lakers shot about 29% from the field, and obviously that ain't going to get it done. Memphis grabbed the early first quarter lead, 31-16 at the end of the first. Jumping to the second, early turnovers by Memphis kind of allowed the Lakers to crawl back into it a little bit, cut that lead down. They cut it to 10, 35-25 at that point. Memphis answered, though, with a 10-3 run. Then Lakers answered with a 7-0 run. It's kind of what the second quarter looked like with runs by both teams. Davis got hot. He hit 6 straight field goals after the terrible first quarter start. But Memphis didn't ever let them cut it to single digits. That 10 points was as close as it got in the first half for the Lakers. AD had 16 at half. After a terrible first quarter, like I said, he turned it around in that second. LeBron had 11. Valanciunas, didn't really hear much from him in the second quarter. He ended up having 15 at half. Brooks had 12. And Morant had 11. Memphis hit 7 threes in that first half, and they had 20 points off of 11 Lakers turnovers. And that is not characteristic of the Lakers to turn the ball over that much, but they could not hang on to it in that first half. Like I said, Memphis led the entire game. They built a 20-point lead, got cut down a little bit, but they were up at halftime, 59-46. Rolling to that third quarter, Lakers opened up the third quarter on a run. Opened up on a 13-4 run to cut it to 63-59. And then Grizzlies kind of pushed back. They pushed the lead back up to 9. So you thought the Lakers just weren't going to be able to get back because they had kept going on runs, and the Grizzlies kept answering with runs. So you kind of start getting worried if you're a Lakers fan. But obviously that did not matter because the Lakers kept coming, they kept coming, they kept coming, and they grabbed their first lead with about 30 seconds left in the third quarter. AD, he started really bad, started 0 for 5. I mean, after that 0 for 5 start, though, he went 12 for 17 through 3 quarters and gave him 27 points. LeBron through 3 had 24, 7, and 7. Grizzlies only shot 8 free throws through 3 quarters, which isn't surprising because Grizzlies don't get to the free throw line. They're actually the worst in the league at getting to the free throw line, and the Lakers are the best in the league at preventing you from getting to the free throw line. So not a surprising stat. But if you want to beat the Lakers, you might want to get to that free throw line. You might want to be able to drive the ball on them because you're not going to be able to shoot lights out all game. Not when they're the #1 defensive efficiency team in the NBA. But the Lakers, like I said, they went on a run in that third quarter, and they ended up grabbing the lead. And into the third, they had an 87-82 lead. And you continue that into the fourth quarter, which would amount to a 19-2 run for the Lakers, which would help them build a 98-88 lead. About 8 minutes left in the fourth, but after that, might as well call it game over because the Grizzlies never got close after that. It was just pedal to the metal from the Lakers, from AD, LeBron, Kuzma. But Morant, it was his first 20-point game since he's came back from his ankle injury, which is, I mean, that's good for the Grizzlies. It's a good sign of what you want to see. He finished with 22 and 10. Valanciunas got real quiet after that hot start in the game. Just finished with 22, and then Allen also finished with 22 for the Grizzlies. AD finished with 35 after having that bad start. LeBron finished with 28, 8, and 9. And then Kuzma provided 20 and 10 off the bench. That's a good sign for the Lakers, if you ask me, because you're already the defending champs. You're already expected to make it to the Western Conference Finals. And you got Kuzma coming off the bench along with Montrez. You got 2 dudes coming off the bench that can easily give you 20 points any given night. That's very ideal for the Lakers. Only problem I see for the Lakers right now is Marc Gasol. He has 6 points, and he's averaging 4 points a game and 4 rebounds a game. I don't even know where to begin with Marc Gasol. Like, if anyone drives in the paint on him, he's not going to stop him. He can't score. He can't defend. I don't really know what his purpose is. You saw last week, I think it was, Embiid just destroyed the Lakers in the paint. He just went off on them because no one could stop him. I mean, AD, I don't know what was going on with AD that night, because AD is a very good defensive player, but, I mean, you need help sometimes. Excuse me. And Marc Gasol just cannot provide that, so they need to trade for someone or sign someone. I don't know who's in the market right now, but they need to figure that out. But the Lakers end up getting the win, 115-105. You expected them to get the win. You didn't expect them to win the way they did. But you go down 20, and then you turn around and you win by double digits. I mean, you got to take that one. That gives them the 7th straight win. But that does it for this podcast. Like always, consider sharing, subscribing. Catch you later. Deuces.